Well, I didn't really know what to do with this request, so I know you're Snooker Loopy nuts, so here we go. Might as well, rather than just talking, I might as well try and sing it. So, Snooker Loopy nuts are we, me and him and them and me. We'll show you what we can do with a load of balls and a snooker cue. Pot the red, then screw back for the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink and black. Snooker Loopy nuts are we. We're all snooker loopy. Bum 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 bum.
Hello and welcome to the Snooker Loopy Podcast. My name is Tom Mayhew and I'm joined as always by my very good friend, it's the flying pole, Joe Haddard.
Good evening, Hazel. Good evening, everyone. And really looking forward to hearing those dulcet tones as, well, Tom, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, isn't it? With a weekend of Crucible action followed by another, 17-day marathon. It's that time of year. It's Crucible Eve as this comes out, and very excited to be back with our daily coverage of the World Championship, Tom.
Yeah, it's the big one. It's Snooker Mania. It's Joe Davis's Ashes. It's Wimble Dominic Dale. It's
He's not even rehearsed these. These are coming off the top of his head. This is like Tim Vine levels of one-liners.
Oh, I mean, I will absolutely take that, mate. I will absolutely take that. Thank you. Especially because I've run out, and the last one's just going to be me going, "Is the Snooker World Cup?" But mainly with players from China and the UK.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, the qualifiers were amazing enough. We will talk about those a little bit later on, but I think this might be my favourite podcast of the whole year, Tom. Where we predict all of the first round matches, the score lines. Of course, I'll be putting in my 16-fold accumulator as well, which will be exciting. And we'll get it horrifically wrong, but we love trying. And we were just saying before we came on air, we're going to predict who the winner of the World Championship is today, but I don't think either of us know who we're going to pick yet. We're just going to let the event prediction take its course, and we will see.
Well, it's a very exciting World Championship because for me, this is the first time in years where I would say the big favourite is Xing Tong, apart from the famous Crucible curse. And it's been a long time when there's been a first-time champion who's come back, been the favourite at the start of the tournament.
Yeah,
and it'll be the biggest test for the curse we've seen probably in decades, and that's exciting in itself because that leaves a whole new level of pressure on Xing Tong.
Yeah.
And there's a possibility he could play, Ding in round 2, which would just be an incredible match for, the present and I don't want to call Ding the past of Chinese snooker, but do you know what I mean? The legend of the game and the young
master and the apprentice, if you like.
Absolutely, yeah. But then even then, I'm like, Xing Tong's not the apprentice; he's the world champion. But
indeed, yeah.
People know what I mean, it just feels like it's really exciting that there isn't a runaway favourite because so many tournaments this season it's been spread so far around the field that I wouldn't want to be a betting man, but apparently Joe is he's got his accumulator, so he's placing at least one bet.
I'll be putting on me £1 16-fold accumulator, Tom. Don't you worry about that. But I mean, you talk about Xing Tong, bookmaker's favourite, of course, and actually the only player to win more than one ranked event this season, which is pretty amazing. He obviously completed the sort of player series hat trick as well. He won the World Grand Prix, the Players Championship, and the Tour Championship. So that's another curse on him because nobody has ever won the Tour Championship and World Championship in the same season. It's going to be very tough. I think a lot of people fancied Kyron Wilson last year to give it a really good go at winning the World Championship. I think he'd won 4 ranked events last season on the back of a World Championship. Very similar season to Xing Tong, if you think about it. And he came up short in a decider in the first round. So it could happen on Saturday, and we'll obviously talk about each of the first round matches, but there is a sort of excitement around this tournament. Obviously, we've just had the good news about the Crucible staying as the host of the World Championship until 2045. We're going to have the refurb of the Crucible as well. And, as you say, it's probably the most open World Championship for a long, long time. There's a lot of players that have sort of returned to form this season. There's some players that have been right at the top of the game that haven't been at the top of their game, but could easily just turn up to the Crucible and win it all. So, there's probably more than 10 players that can win the World Championship, and that's got to be a good thing for snooker. I think it's a really positive news story at the moment. It seems to be something a lot of people are talking about, so good signs, I think.
Well, and I think what adds to the excitement is the fact that this is obviously the final ranking event at the end of what has been a historic season, and record numbers of 147s by a mile. I mean, the highest ever break ever made. Like, so many incredible matches. It feels like there was definitely more centuries in the qualifiers than ever before for this. So.
Yeah, 173. I think it was insane. We've had a record-breaking break over the 150. Obviously, there will be one person that is missing from all of that, and I guess there always will be a gap because John Virgo won't be there. It'll be very sad to not hear him this year, but I'm really looking forward actually to a lot of the tributes that the BBC is surely going to pay to him, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of features about him and things that we can smile about throughout the World Championship. So it's very, very bittersweet to say the least. But I know they did a sort of service for him in Sheffield on the Thursday, and that's it's really cool to see that there was over 1,000 people that went to attend this service for John Virgo, and it just shows how much he meant to everybody.
What sums up that bittersweet feeling, I think, is when you said, I guess there always will be a gap. I both sort of smiled and felt sad at the same time, because it was like a funny little reference to his "there's always a gap" thing, but then also it's like, it's true. Like, I want someone to make a t-shirt with "there's always a gap" and then John Virgo holding hands with Paddington Bear or something like something. That meme of was it the Queen?
Yeah. The Queen.
I want something like that with JV and Paddington Bear.
Well, you know what, Tom? We've probably just created it. Somebody out there has listened to that, and we are going to get some Fancheng email over the next 2 weeks with somebody doing a mock-up of the shirt of JV holding Paddington Bear's hand.
I'd buy it. That's all I'm saying. They'd definitely sell at least 2 of them. It'd be to me and Joe, but it's fine.
Or 2 to Tom. It may well be 2 to Tom.
Well, I look forward to your Christmas present, Joe. It's on the way.
Well, there you go. So shall we get into it, Tom? The 2026 Halo World Championship. Our predictions. We're going to go match by match. So, of course, the draw was made on Thursday morning. There's some absolute cracking matches in there. We will talk about them one by one, and as normal, we will try and predict the scoreline as well for each match. And like I did for the qualifiers, I've got a little sort of live feed of what our predictions are going to be. So,
do you want to do this before our qualifying prediction results?
I think let's do that first,
Okay.
And then we'll do the qualifiers later on. Some people will inevitably only be here to listen to our World Championship predictions, and hopefully they'll
stop talking about Paddington Bear, mate. I don't want to hear that.
Hopefully they'll stay for our hilarious look at our qualifier predictions, which, to be fair, I think we've done all right, but we'll see when we get there. But first match of the tournament, of course, is going to be the defending champion, Zhao Xintong. He is going to be taking on a certain Liam Highfield, who Tom may well have predicted to qualify, by the way. So this is the sort of quality predictions that you get round here. Not many people will have predicted Liam Highfield, but Tom did. Tom did. And, well, he's got first up, 10 o'clock Saturday morning. How do you fancy that?
I don't know if I'd predict he's going to do much further, because he is ranked. He's ranked 90, which I think is probably mainly because I think he's on the first year of a tour card. So really, I'd say he's a player who should probably be more around the 64. I think he's that level of player. You know, with a good season, a bit higher. With a poor season, drop off tour. He's definitely better than a ranked 90 player, but not someone who has much Crucible experience, and it's really hard to look past Xintong because, as we say, he's been winning everything. And I mean, we've not really even mentioned it, but most recent tournament, the way he beat Higgins, the way he beat Trump, just unbelievable. And when someone's playing that well over longer matches, I don't know how he wouldn't find that form in this match.
Yeah,
I'd be stunned.
I mean, absolutely. But you know, if you look back at last year's World Championship with Zhao Xintong, the players he beat Jack Jones in the first round. He beat Lei Pei Fan, I believe it was, in the second round. He beat Chris Wakelin, Ronnie O'Sullivan, who, of course, hadn't played at all, really, in the second half of the season. Beat him with a session to Spain. Then he beat Mark Williams in the final, who'd come through that marathon match with Judd Trump. So, okay, he beat two of the class of 92, but maybe he didn't have the most difficult route to winning the championship last year. And I think that is something that's going to be very much tested this year. He's surely going to come up against somebody that is in great form that this time around. So, I agree with you. I think he will quite comfortably come through that first round. I would say the start is really important, but Kyron Wilson was 6-3 up after the first session last year. So even though he could get a good start, it is probably going to get a little bit tense towards the end, but pressure doesn't seem to faze him at the minute. So yeah, I think I agree with you. It'll have to be Xintong. And I'm going to get out there and say he's going to win 10-4.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to go Xintong. I'm going to go... Pick a score, I would go 10-6. I think it's going to be, slightly... I think it'll be a 10-6, but it will still be a 10-6 where Xintong doesn't look like he's in trouble. Do you know what I mean? It'll be one of those where he'll always be a step ahead. It might be one that is like, 8-3, and then Highfield will reel off a few, but then Xintong still comfortably wins it. But yeah, I think it could be something like that.
Yeah, I can't disagree, to be honest. I suppose it could be 10-1. Liam Highfield may well crumble under the pressure or may not get a chance, but hopefully it'll be a good match, and hopefully we'll get some good play into the evening session. That's always something that we like to see at the World Championship. So just to remind you, Tom, the way we did this last year, if you get the score bob on, you get 3 points. If you get the correct score, you get 1 point. So so there's a lot riding on your scores here as well. And as you mentioned before, in the next match, we've got Ding Junhui against Dave Gilbert, who played quite well in the qualifiers, I think surprisingly so. Gave quite a negative interview to Rob Walker afterwards about his own game and his enjoyment for the sport. But I think Dave Gilbert is always a bit of a dangerous player to get in the first round. I think particularly for somebody like Ding Junhui, who... Well, he is the 16th seed. He is somebody that hasn't had a great season, and to be honest with you, he hasn't had a great few years. He wins the odd tournament here and there, and then seems to go missing for a little while. So this could be one of the ones that's there for an upset, but I think Ding will have that motivation to try and set up that last 16 match against Zhao Xintong.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree about that interview. I think the Grumpy Farmer would be a better nickname for him after that interview, because he was not happy at all. And yeah, he did well in the qualifiers. He beat Ireland's Aaron Hill and Ireland's Leon Crowley. So I don't think Ken's going to be a massive fan of David Gilbert this championship. And there was the match against Leon Crowley. I think he did get in 12. In 12 different frames, he had a break above 50. Which, in a match where you play 13 frames, pretty incredible form to be that consistent. Not against the highest ranked opponent, of course. So I think he was showing some decent form, but I think the sporting romantic in me has to go for Ding, just because I just think what we want as big snooker fans, and this probably sways me and Joe more often than not, which is probably why we end up doing bad, but we want the stories, we want the really exciting sort of dreams to come true, the really fun things, and I think Xintong versus Ding would be it would be a classic, and it would actually be quite a huge moment for the sport. It'd be like when Davis plays Bronny, or when Higgins plays Ross Muir. Maybe not Ross Muir. I was trying to think of a young Scottish player who's up and coming, but there's not
Scott
many.
Donaldson.
Scott Donaldson. There
Anthony
we go.
McGill. Yeah. Interestingly, Tom, that second round match, I will be watching the conclusion of that. So, so if that match goes close, that could be. Well, that would be the one or one of the ones that I'm seeing in my first visit to the Crucible this year. So you're going to go Ding. What score line are you going to go?
We'll go close. I think it might be a 10-8 to Ding.
10-8. You know what, Tom? We are in agreement here. I'm going to go Ding, and I'm going to go 10-8. There you go. I agree with you. Pretty much everything you said was spot on. I think Dave will probably, score very well in the match, but I'm just not sure his temperament is quite there. But then I'm not sure Ding's is, to be truthful. But as you say, it's the romantic in me. I want to see Ding get through, and hey, what a big moment it would be if Ding beats Zhao to keep the Crucible curse going, and the Ding curse, of course. Remember the Ding curse from last season. So that's over now because Stan Moody broke the Ding curse. But Ding and his curses, Anyway, more Chinese action coming up now, Tom, because third match that we're going to talk about is an all-Chinese affair. We've got Zhao Gudong, who is, of course, a very consistent top 16 player, against Zhao Yulong. Again, another player that played pretty well in his final qualifying match and then went out to Rob Walker, and he was quite negative about his game. He's had a decent season. He's reached, I think, 2 semi-finals and a ranking final this season, which, considering how wide the sort of winner's circle has been this year, that's pretty good, I think, for him to be getting to the business end of tournaments. So, again, this could be a pretty close one. I'm not really sure how well Zhao Gudong's playing at the minute. I feel like he hasn't necessarily progressed that far in tournaments of late. A few semi-finals, but yeah. How do you see this one playing out?
I see it playing out as a match where, firstly, I can see the commentators and pundits getting the two names mixed up because they sound very similar. Zhao Gudong, Zhao Yulong. I can see that being a nightmare for Dennis. I'm quite sure he will trip up a bit. And I probably would as well because it does sound very similar. But I feel like Gudong's high rank, it's one of those occasions where he had a couple of tournaments where he did really well. Of course, he won a title, and that does mean your ranking is he won 2 titles actually. He won the Wuhan Open twice in a row, didn't he? And that means that your it does boost your ranking a lot when you have a really good couple of titles. But
Yeah.
probably his overall form in most tournaments would be more like a player who's sort of ranked 20-ish, that kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
So a good draw probably for Yulong, as a player who's not too far out the top 16 himself. Two very well matched players. I'm gonna flip a coin, Joe. That's what I'm gonna do.
Ooh,
I've not even got a coin
look
though.
at this. We've got a game show going on here.
I've got a little thing that's used for like a CEX keyring, and I'm gonna flip that. If it lands on CEX, that's Gudong. If not, it's Yulong. So let's see if I can get this in.
Let's play Gudong or Yulong.
It's Gudong, Joe. It's Gudong.
It's Gudong. Okay, fair enough. And what scoreline are you going to go for?
Well, shall I flip the thing again?
No.
10-9. Let's go 10-9.
10-9. Okay, fair enough. First decider of the first round. I think this could be the first upset. Well, not upset, but first qualifier to win. And all I'm putting it down to is that little bit of match sharpness that Yulong has got. He's played 2 matches. I don't know when the last time Gudong played. It was probably the World Open, back in sort of March time. I don't think he certainly wasn't in the Tour Championship. Don't think he was in the Players Championship, but he may well have been. But I'm going to go Zhao for 10-7. I'm going to go 10-7 for him. And the way it's going at the moment, Tom, we've got 3 Chinese players through, and there's a possibility we might pick another one here, and that would mean there's a guaranteed Chinese semi-finalist, which this early in the podcast is pretty crazy, isn't it? But big podcast favourite, Sean Murphy, Smurf 360, and all of that, Tom. He is there. He's taken on another podcast favourite, Tom, Fan Zhengyi, our Fan Zhengyi male himself. I mean, this is a bit of a spicy one because I feel like they've had a few matches in the past, and I think Sean has said a few things when Fan's been playing him. So, I mean, Fan was playing for his place on tour, wasn't he? In the qualifiers, so he's done very well to get here. And Sean Murphy, he's been so hot or cold this season, and every time he loses, he seems to say, "Well, that's the best anyone's ever played against me."
Is this some sort of Sean Murphy curse or something? It's the Sean Murphy spell. They see Sean spin, and it gives them power, and they go, "I'm going to play the best I've ever played because of the spin wave." Yeah, I mean, it's because I'm aware I picked I didn't pick Gudong. It just happened because I flicked my CX thing, but I've picked the favourite every time, and so far. But I do feel like we could see, as you said, 4 Chinese players going through, because, I mean, it's going to be at least 2, most people would say, I think. Very few people would bet against Zheng Tong against Highfield, and Gudong Yulong is going to be at least 2. But considering we've had semi-finals where there's been 4 Chinese players this year in ranking events, I could see this being 4 Chinese players in the same bit of the draw. It's kind of what would happen when you do have this many, of them qualifying and making up the field. So I don't like to go against Smurf 360. I do like him a lot, but I do feel like, based on how the season's gone, and the fact Fan looked pretty comfortable in qualifying. I think most matches were like 10-3, 10-4. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be a shock, and it's going to be close, but I think Fan will win 10-8.
Wow. Well, that is a big shock so far that Tom's gone for. I think Murphy's a bit of an outside bet. There's a few people that would fancy him to go quite far this year. He's on a really tough side of the draw, but yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to be working for the BBC. I think something has gone on there. behind the scenes, because he hasn't worked on the BBC at all this season, and I did hear something about he felt he should be paid more, or become the highest paid BBC pundit. I don't know how true that is. Obviously, you know, that is pure speculation, but I mean, I'd be surprised if that was the case, and I think it would be a massive shame, because I think he is a great pundit and commentator and presenter, actually, on the BBC. So I think it would be a real shame if he's not there. But I guess it does give him more time to focus on his play. Therefore, I'm going to back him. I'm going to back him to have a comfortable victory. I'm going to go 10-5 for Sean Murphy.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. We're a quarter of the way there, Tom. A quarter of the way there. I mean, this is an absolute monster of a match coming up next. We have got a certain 4-time world champion, John Higgins, who has had a great season. He's got to a number of finals. He's been very consistent. He's very high on the 1 year list. And he's taken on Ali Carter, who, to be fair, a bit lucky that he's made it to the World Championship. I mean, it was absolutely crazy, that side of the draw with McGill. McGill came back from 9-4 down against Minister of Defence, Martin O'Donnell. You were probably getting very excited when you seen him up there. And I think Ali Carter was quite a bit down in his round 3 match as well. So, yeah, but I mean, on paper, you would say that was the tie of the round, probably, Higgins versus Carter.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely one that will be, I think it won't be easy for Higgins. He's definitely found a bit of form. He's found something, I think, the last 6 months. So he still has to be favourite, especially as class of 92. It's really hard to bet against them, but it's not an easy draw for anyone. Ali Carter is probably, of all the qualifiers, he's the one you'd want to avoid, I'd say, because there's very few people who've qualified who A, have been top 16 players for as long as he was, and B, are players who've done it at the Crucible. I'd say he's the toughest of all the qualifiers. So it's hard to go against Higgins, but yeah, do I want to go for Ali because I want Ali against Ronnie in the second round again?
Oh, you see the romantic in him.
But then Higgins against Ronnie would be okay. Let's go. Nah, I'm gonna go Higgins. I think I'm gonna go Higgins. I'm gonna go Higgins, and it's gonna be 10-7.
10-7, okay.
But it'll be more back and forth than that sounds. Ali might lead off the first session. It'll be that kind of...
Yeah. I think what I'm going to sort of go back to here is Ronnie played Ali Carter in the first round last year. And of course, Ronnie hadn't played snooker for ages. I mean, last year, Ronnie didn't play well at all, did he? He didn't look right. And Ronnie still came through that match 10-4. So that's kind of what I'm going to refer to. Of Higgins is in a lot better a shape than Ronnie was last year. And I don't think Carter's playing as well as he was last year. So that would suggest Higgins will win comfortably. But now I've said that, Carter will probably win. But yes, I agree. I mean, if we can have Ronnie versus John Higgins at the World Championship again, that's another great match over the best of 25. Of course, Higgins and Williams took each other on last year in the quarterfinal. It went to the final black. So, I'm going to go Higgins. I'm going to go with my head and my heart here. And I'm going to say he's going to win it fairly comfortably, 10-6.
Okay.
Which brings us on to our second class of 92 contender, and a lot of people's favourite for the championship this year after the way he played in the Yushan World Open. Of course, got that 153. and really was only beaten in the final because of a superhuman performance by Tepchai Ronnie probably would have won that match fairly comfortably, but there's not a lot you can do with 3 centuries against you in the last 3 frames. So he's taken on He Gao Chang, I think is how you say it. How I've heard people say it in the qualifiers. And you know, they've had a decent run of it in qualifying as well. But I think Ronnie will be pretty pleased with that first round draw. There was a lot of players in there that I think he would have wanted to avoid, and I think he'll be quite pleased that he's got somebody that's making their debut at the Crucible, and yeah, probably looks up to Ronnie and maybe will be a rabbit in the headlights at the Crucible.
Yes, I think there's a lot of players, of course, who are from China who have come through and done really well on their debuts. And, you know, we think of people like Xie Xiaowei, of course, you know, Zhao Kentong is a current champion. Ding, of course, when he was younger, did very well. I've not seen enough from Guo Chang to know whether he's in that bracket. He's clearly decent. But
I mean, he beat Jack Lazowski in qualifying very comfortably in the end. But he has had some good runs, hasn't he? But
I guess what I'm saying is he's definitely someone who I'm like, oh no, this guy could be top 32. But at the moment, there's not enough to say, is he going to be a top 16? Is he going to win ranking events? He's a bit more of an unknown quantity, I'd say, in terms of the Chinese qualifiers. So I do think Ronnie is strong favourite there, because he's playing someone who isn't even used to reaching the top 16 of that many tournaments, which he'd have to do, but he beats Ronnie. So it's not like someone who's been in semi-finals or one rank. So Ronnie will be strong favourite. I can see that being 10-4 to Ronnie.
Ooh, 10-4. That's your biggest victory so far. I agree pretty much with everything you've said. I think there's going to be a certain focus around Ronnie this year. Just some of the things he's said in the build-up to it. He played really well in the John Virgo Trophy. In the second match, he played against John Higgins, and he beat him 6-0. Which is pretty impressive over that sort of format where it's sort of ball in hand. If you foul, it's very difficult to not lose a frame in that format. As we see at the shootout every year, you know, you get surprise winners of that. So to win that 6-0, that was very impressive. He didn't play very well against Hendry, certainly to start with. But I just think there's something about Ronnie this year that's quite focused. And probably wanting to prove a lot of people wrong. He's perhaps for the first time in his career gone into a World Championship under the radar. You know, I think he's third favourite, which I don't know when the last time that will have been the case. Maybe last year, considering he hadn't played. But yeah, I'm going to go Ronnie 10-2 in this one. I think it's going to be a very, very comfortable victory for the Rocket in his opening round match. So that now takes us to another podcast favourite, Strictly Quiz Wakelin. He will be taking on debutant Liam Pullen, and what a story that is, of course. He came through from all the way from the first round qualifying, and Chris Wakelin's actually been helping one of the other qualifiers, which we'll talk about later on. But yeah, you know, what a great story for Liam Pullen to be there. He beat Noppon Sangham 10-8 in the final qualifier. He beat Tepchai Nu in the previous round 10-7. So those are two pretty big scalps going into a World Championship. And as I say, he's won 4 matches in qualifying, including shootout champion Alfie Burden as well. So,
and nice.
I mean, he's got a lot going for him, and taking on somebody like Chris Wakelin, who is now getting into the top 16, maybe a little bit more established. Won the international championship earlier this year, I believe it was. Or was it the Scott? It was the Scottish Open, wasn't it? It was the Scottish Open that he won. But yeah, I'm finding this one really tough to call. I think a lot of it will come down to how Liam Pullen adjusts to Crucible life.
Yeah, it's interesting really because Chris Wakelin, is this his first or second year as a seed? I feel it might be his first.
Yeah, he wasn't a seed last year. He played Robertson in the first round last year.
But he did get to the quarterfinal. So, he's someone who now has a different kind of pressure because he's not used to being a favourite, not used to being a seed, but he will have the confidence of going, well, last year I got to a quarterfinal. So he'll be super confident going into this. He'll have his dancing shoes on, Joe. He'll be playing da 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 as he goes down. I really hope he plays that. He'll be doing all these things, and I feel like Liam Pullen's a player who has had big wins before. He beat Stuart Bingham in a qualifier. I think last season he's beat big players before, so he's not someone who should be just written off as, he's only a 20-year-old debutant. And again, we should also say, massive for the sport. I think the debutants this year are huge for the sport in a number of ways. Liam Pullen, Stan Moody, and Tony Kowalski. I think all three of them are like really big, and you just go, they're proper great stories and will actually be amazing, especially if they go on a good run. I feel like Wakelin will be up for it. I do like him.
You do like a bit of Chris Wakelin, don't you?
I do. He'll have his shoes on, won't he? I think he'll have his shoes on, and that will blind Liam Pullen. And I think it might be a 10-6 to Wakelin. I just feel like after he got to the quarters last year, I think Wakelin is, and he's had a good season. He has, he's been in all the tournaments for, players who've had a great season. So he's in good form. But it's one of those, which I do love about. I love a first round match at the Crucible. Well, I'll be happy either way. Because if Wakelin wins, I like him a lot. He seems like a good guy. He'll be dancing, brilliant. If Pullen wins, what a story, amazing. Hopefully he goes far. So either way, I'm happy.
Absolutely. And speaking of either way, you're happy. I think what?
What's your score? Or were you?
Well, I'm gonna get there.
Sorry, I thought you were moving on. Sorry.
No. I'm gonna get there. Chris Wakelin and Liam Pullen will both be very happy with the draw, I think. Liam Pullen will feel like he can beat Chris Wakelin. No disrespect to Chris, but it's not like he's coming up against Zhao, or Ronnie or John Higgins, where he'd feel like, oh my God, I've got no chance. And Chris Wakelin will be like, right, I've got a debutant, I can ease myself into round two. So I've not gone for many shocks so far, so I'm going to go for Liam Pullen to pull it out of the bag.
Oh.
And I think it's going to be Shredsville 10-9 on the colours. I think it's going to, because Chris Wakelin, not great under pressure. I think I can see that match being an absolute just Crucible classic of nerves, drama, and tension. I think it'll be great. So moving on to the last match of the top half of the draw. This is Neil Robertson, who, of course, won the Saudi Arabian Masters back in the summer, beat Ronnie in a deciding frame. Seems to be somewhere nearer his best than he has been in previous years. And he's taken on Pang Jung-soo. And that was the last draw out of the hat. And Neil Robertson, ironically, was the one that was sat there with Rob Walker today. So he would have been going through it, waiting for that to come out. But I think Robertson will be quite happy with that. Pang making his 4th consecutive Crucible appearance. And Pang's been a little bit quiet this season, I think it's fair to say. Beat Jackson Page in the final qualifier, and Dylan Emery before that. So, Yeah, big challenge to take on Neil Robertson, but Robertson coming out with his yearly, it's getting a bit like Jimmy White's flying in practice. He comes out with his new mentality for the Crucible every single year, and he's got it this year. It's part of a 5-year plan, this one, Tom.
Okay, has he said what the 5-year plan is?
He's not said what it is, but he's he said he's going to go in there and he's going to make it happen, is what he said. So that to me makes it sound like he's going to go all guns blazing, and hopefully not get bogged down. But he says that every year, and then he'll end up bogging himself down. But I really hope that Neil Robertson could have a good run at the Crucible, because I think it's a real crying shame that he's not been to the semi-final since 2014.
Yeah, and I think in the past 3 years, his record is something like second round, didn't qualify first round. So his record's been pretty poor. And he's one of those players who has complained about the World Championship being too long, about not really suiting how he feels. In terms of those one-time champions, his record's probably at the lower end of those. He's not, as we say, he's not been in another final. He just doesn't do well since he won it for whatever reason. He feels like he's had a 15-year Crucible curse, Joe. It just feels like.
Absolutely. And he was beaten by Judd Trump back in 2011, interestingly enough. He got a really awful draw that year when he was trying to break the Crucible curse. But yeah, it's not a venue that gets on well with him. And again, he's on a really tough side of the draw. He'd have to beat the likes of Ronnie or Higgins, potentially Murphy or Zhao Xintong in a semi-final to get to the final. That would be tough. But at the end of the day, to win the World Championship, you've got to beat everybody in front of you. And I think that's his point. He doesn't want to wait for that good draw to come, so he's going to attack it. And I think it will work for him in the first round. He seems to do well in first rounds in general, actually. I'm going to say 10-6 to Robbo against Pang Jung-soo, and expect a few centuries in there as well.
I mean, this is one of the few times we've disagreed this episode, but I do not see Neil getting through. I see him losing. I think it being 10-8 to Pang. I really just feel like Robertson's form at the Crucible, and because he's one of those players who obviously he's a seed, he's part of the coverage, he's part of the being there with Rob Walker for the draw and saying, I've got a plan. And that's partly because obviously he's got a high profile, he's top 16, but also that's someone who he knows there's pressure on him. He feels that pressure. Whereas Pang, as a qualifier who has played well at the Crucible every time he's qualified, I don't think he's going to feel the pressure. He's not a top 16 player. He's got nothing to lose. And I just feel like I've given him, strangely, a bit of an edge.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and I think it's happened a lot in the past. I think Sean Murphy's been guilty of it a lot in the past, of when you sort of speak too much beforehand and you sort of tempt fate. And I think, I can sort of see where you're coming from.
My favourite example of that was Judd Trump saying before the World Championship, I'm the best player in the world, very few people can beat me. And then he lost to Rory McLeod in the first round.
Go on, Rory. We were roaring on Rory that day, weren't we? Anyway, on to the second half of the draw. And this is an absolutely cracking matchup. We've got 2024 world champion Kyron Wilson, who was well fancied last year. He won the Masters this year with a new cue, because his cue broke just before the UK Championship. He was in bits about that. But since the Masters, he's really, really struggled. Didn't qualify for the Players' Championship, didn't qualify for the Tour Championship. And he comes into this tournament fresh, but certainly out of match practice. And he comes up against the first teenager, or British teenager, to qualify for the Crucible since Judd Trump in 2007. So Stan Moody, who I've for a while hoped would be the sort of Luke Littler of snooker. for a little while. And now whether he is somebody that can go and win a world championship and whether he's got the sort of personality, I'm not saying Luke Littler's the most engrossing personality in the world, but there was that real underdog story. Could Stan Moody have a similar effect? And yeah, it's certainly a very interesting match, isn't it?
Well, what is fascinating is that I think a lot of people have felt that about Moody since he was first on the scene in the shootout when he was 12 or 13, and he won a few matches, and people were thinking for ages, oh, could this guy be the next young British person to break through? And as you said,
British player,
this young British player, and as you said, the last teenager was Judd Trump in. Did you say 2007?
2007, yeah.
And Stan Moody was born in 2006, which blows my mind a bit. But yeah, it'll be. What is interesting, I think, is that this week he's come out and said, I want to be the Luke Littler of snooker.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether he's then going to switch a bit and end up putting too much pressure on himself. Because Judgment Day is one thing when you're playing in front of 50 people who've bought tickets to see the qualifiers, and it's much less profile. But when suddenly you're under the Crucible lights and you've come out saying, I want to be the Luke Littler of snooker, that's someone who isn't just here to make up the numbers. He's thinking, I want to win this. But then that means you've put so much pressure on yourself. And even Judd Trump didn't win it when it was his debut. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It will be interesting to see how he plays. I think if he settles early, he's clearly got the confidence that, if the first session ends 4-all or even 5-3 to Kyron, I think Stan has the confidence to give it a good go. But you can't underestimate a former world champion. You're playing a former world champion, and a lot of these young talents need a bit of an ego. It's what Judd had, it's what Ronnie had, it's what Littler had. You need a bit of an ego, thinking I can't beat the best. You need that sort of confidence. But whether this is Moody's time or not, it would be great for the sport if it was, but he'd have to go on and be the youngest world champion in history. And it takes a brave man to predict that, Joe.
It absolutely does. My question to you would be, to have the effect that Luke Littler had, does he need to win the World Championship?
Maybe not win. I'd say probably get to the single table setup, probably. Because it'd be a huge story if he beat Kyron, former world champion. That would already be quite massive. And and if Liam Pullen goes on the run, I think he could have a similar impact. I don't see why it has to be Moody. I think it feels like Moody's got more of like a media team around him that's pushing him to be this. Whereas Luke
he's got his own YouTube channel, and he's got. I think he's a bit more attacking than Pullen. Pullen's maybe a bit more of a Kyron type character. I think, a bit more sort of mechanical, whereas I think Stan's maybe a little bit more natural. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the pressure could get to him. But I think Kyron Wilson has really, really struggled this season. And Tom, that I'm a big fan of Kyron Wilson. But I'm going to bet against the favourite here. I'm gonna go for Stan Moody, and I think it's actually going to be more comfortable than you think. I'm going to go Moody 10-6, and only based on how Kyron Wilson has been playing this season, other than at the Masters, which for some reason he seemed to find something there. But yeah, there's just something a bit off with Kyron at the minute. And I hope I'm wrong, because I'd love to see Kyron go and win another world championship. That would be amazing. But I can't see it this year. And I think Moody coming in from the qualifiers, he's had a good season. I'm going to back him.
Oh dear. Do I go for the storyline, Joe? Do I go for the storyline? No, I can't. I have to go for Kyron. Kyron's going to win. I do not think. I think Moody is he's made a mistake of bigging himself up too much. I think he could be someone who has a good run at the World Championship when he's 21. It could be a couple of years in the future. I don't think it's his time now. He still could be a Luke Leader when he's 21. Do you know what I mean? I think he still could have a massive impact on the sport, and I hope he does. But I think right now, knowing Kyron's temperament, he'll know all the buzz around Stan Moody, and I think Kyron is the kind of player who'd want to shut that up. He'd want to go,
yeah.
Well, hold on, what about me? I want to prove a point here. So, do you know what I mean? I think he'll be taking it seriously, and I think he'll want to remind people that he's still in the game and he's still got a shot.
Go on then. What score?
Let's go 10-10-5.
Okay. Okay, right, on to the next one. We've got Mark Allen, who's really not had a good season at all. Lots of people have, backed him to win the World Championship over the last few years. It's not really happened for him. He's not got a fantastic record at the Crucible, actually. Obviously got that 147 last year against Chris Wakelin in the second round, which I was there for, funnily enough. But yeah, eventually lost, and lost very comfortably to Chris as well. He's taken on Zhang Anda, who got 5 centuries in his final qualifying round, and he's quietly going about his business. He was the seed the last couple of years. He's had to qualify again now. Beat Zach Surety in qualifying, who a lot of people will have fancied to get back to the Crucible after the way he played last year. So that's a good victory for him. He played very well, and yeah, he's the form guy. Before you've even spoken about this match, Tom, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to go Zhang Anda, and I'm going to go for 10-7. I'm just going to go for it.
I am actually also going to back Zhang. I think Zhang Anda, I think it could be a little bit closer. Let's go 10-8. That's what I think. But I do agree that Allen's not had a very good season. His record at the Crucible is really quite poor. Of all the players who have been in the top 16 as long as he has, I think there's very few who have. I mean, is he the only player ever who's been world number 1 and never reached a final at the Crucible? He's only ever reached 2 semis, and I think that's quite telling of the fact that his record's not great there. And maybe he'll be happier. He's got no pressure. Maybe that kind of underdog spirit might spur him on, and he'll finally get to the final and finally make it. I don't know, but I would be stunned. This would be, Leicester City. This would be ridiculous if he won it.
Oh, this is getting quite harsh now, Tom, because I remember there was a feature on a World Championship. So where the BBC do little features with the commentators, and they were talking about Mark Allen, and Steve Davis referred to Mark Allen as a championship snooker player. And I feel like you've just sort of done the same thing. This was about 10 years ago, before he sort of had that little rise to number 1, won a few ranking events. Another interesting stat here, Tom, is that Zhang Anda made his Crucible debut in 2010, but he has never won a match at the Crucible. So that is something that is on the line. If he was to beat Mark Allen, he could have the Luca Bracell effect of winning his first match at the Crucible and going on to win the whole thing. Who knows?
We'll see if Joe backs that later in the podcast.
I'm not going to do that.
he's won ranking events. Why couldn't he?
He has.
You know what I mean?
Well, why not? Why not? Everybody looking at Zhao Xintong and Ding Junhui and Fan Zhengyi, Zhao Gudong, Wu Yize. Who is it that goes and wins it? Zhang Anda.
Yeah. And I've just looked at his Wikipedia. He's been in 4 ranking finals, won one of them. The 3rd ranking final was the Players' Championship against Mark Allen, and it was 10-8 to Mark Allen. So,
well,
he's not far away from Mark Allen. So,
well. There you go, Tom. So, Zhang Anda for both of us. Now, next one. The guy who I backed to win the Masters earlier this year, Tom, Barry Hawkins, who of course went on to win the Welsh Open not long afterwards. And he is taking on one of my absolute favourite players. Really delighted to see him back at the Crucible, a certain Matthew Stevens, Channel 5 pundit, who, again, seems to pick his cue up only a few times a year. And one of those times seems to be at the Crucible. He's one of those sort of perennial qualifiers that doesn't do anything for the rest of the season. But hearing him speak recently, he seems to be sort of inspired by the class of 92 and how they've sort of prolonged their top 16 stay into their 50s, and he's about 48, I think. So I feel like he's thinking, okay, maybe I can give this one more good go. And who knows? He played really, really well against Stuart Bingham, I thought, and yeah, good to see him back.
Well, I'll
4
say
years away he's been.
I'll say this because Joe, of course, was criticised for getting Stan Moody's age wrong. Matthew Stevens is 48. Spot on, Joe.
There you go. Fantastic. I mean, what are your opinions of Matthew Stevens, Tom?
Oh, he's great. I think he's fantastic. You know what I mean? He's one of those players who very few people don't like. He's very sort of popular among fans. Definitely a player who it feels like should have won more. I think if maybe he'd played or started playing like 10 years, if he was 10 years younger, basically, I think he's a player who could easily have, 5 or 6 ranking titles, but because there's more tournaments nowadays, so it feels like he was born in an era where it was hard to win titles, but he's much better than his number of ranking titles would have you believe.
I thought you were going to say he's much better than Mark Allen. I thought you were just going to continue your bashing of Mark Allen.
Oh, mate, he's much better than Mark. If this was Matthew Stevens against Mark Allen, I'd go, it'd be 10 against -1. Like, that's just how it would go.
People are going to think that we don't like Mark Allen, but we do like Mark Allen.
I don't know why.
In fact, I represented Mark Allen at the Virtual Worlds 6 years ago, Tom, now. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, I have to go with the romantic story here. I mean, I'd be quite happy seeing either of them win. I like both of these players a lot. I think Barry Hawkins is a fantastic player. He's probably missed the boat now in terms of winning the World Championship, but I'm going to back Matthew Stevens, and I'm going to go 10-8. I don't think he can survive a decider, but not because of his age, but because I think Barry Hawkins has probably got a slightly better temperament these days. But yeah, I'm going to go Matthew Stevens for that one.
I feel like...
Is he going to go for the points or is he going to go for the storyline?
I'm going to go for Barry Hawkins to get revenge for Stuart Bingham. Because I'm annoyed that Matthew Stevens... I love Matthew Stevens. I'm annoyed that he beat Stuart Bingham. So I'm going to go Barry Hawkins to win 10-3.
10-3? Wow. You know what? It's not a bad prediction, really.
And at the end of the match, he'll just point to the sky and go, for Bingham. And everyone go, what? What do you mean? He's watching. He's over there.
And then he'll rip his mask off and it'll be Stuart Bingham. Yeah. Who's been playing left-handed all match. Anyway, speaking of left-handers, we're on to our final member of the class of 1992, which is, of course, Mark Williams, last year's finalist, and he has taken on one of the real feel-good stories, again, in the qualifiers, Anthony Kowalski, who has saved his tour card by qualifying for the Crucible, beating Jamie Jones and, one of our... picks for the future, Joe O'Connor in qualifying, really good result against him, and Connor Benzie in the second round of qualifying. So, he's beaten some good players on his way to the Crucible, and certainly in Joe O'Connor and Jamie Jones, people who have qualified over the last few years. So, some good results for him. First Polish player ever to walk down those famous steps, Tom. That's Rob Walker's famous phrase this year.
Yeah, and as we said at the start, the flying pole,
The flying pole, yeah.
He said in his interview with Rob Walker, the flying pole has arrived. That was his big thing. I mean, a flying pole just makes me think of a javelin, to be honest, but if that's his nickname...
Or the pole vault.
But yeah, he's only 22, so really properly young player. Like, I mean, crazy to think that if he's 22, then Mark Williams would have been a 2-time world champion before he was born. Which
yeah,
bonkers. Yeah. He could be Mark Williams' son. If Mark Williams went to Poland and had a party,
had a few too many kebabs. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, Kowalski reminds me a lot of Alexander Ersenbacher, actually. The way he sort of conducts himself, not too similar in play style. He's quite a passionate player, isn't he? He was giving it all the emotions in his match against Jamie Jones. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think Mark Williams will be a little bit relieved at the draw, actually, and not in a disrespectful way, but Mark Williams has struggled of late, and I said this last year, and he got to the final, but yeah, I think he will quite appreciate not playing somebody that's familiar with the Crucible this year.
Yeah, because I mean, Kowalski was very emotional in his post-match interview. Obviously, he was playing for both his tour card and to debut at the Crucible, which he said was like incredible. I think he said something like, I've played for my tour card before, I've played on Judgment Day before, but putting the two together, he was in tears at the end. He was clearly very emotional. He's a player I think a lot of people warm to. He seems quite smiley, quite a positive kind of energy around him, so I think a lot of people will be rooting for him. But I feel like Mark Williams is just... it's so hard to bet against Willer. It really is hard, especially over this length of match. And I just feel like it might be a step too far for Antoni. But I feel like he'll look back and go, I've had a bloody good week. Because he has, and I think he hopefully will kick on and get into the top 64 because, he'll have to have a new tour card and stuff. But just generally, I feel like he seems like he's got a good energy about him. I really like the fact he seems like, most snooker players are kind of a bit robotic and grumpy, but he's got a bit more charisma around him. And so I hope he does well. I hope he plays well, but I fancy it to be Williams, maybe 10-6.
10-6, okay. I agree. I think Williams over that length of match has got to be the favourite. I think we'll see some good stuff from Kowalski, hopefully a couple of centuries in there. That would be really nice to see. It would be nice to see it go close, but I think it is going to be fairly comfortable for Willow in the end. 10-5 is what I'm going to go there. And that, for me, sets up a very romantic repeat of the 2000 World Championship final. Between Matthew Stevens and Mark Williams, 26 years later. So there you go.
It's very romantic. They'll have Rob Walker lighting a candle in between them before they play, and it'll be very beautiful.
Indeed. We're on to the next section of the draw, who will determine who's on the other side of the arena when I go on the second Sunday. So we've got Mark Selby, who, of course, won the UK Championship. Hasn't really done a great deal since. He's going to be taking on the 2024 runner-up, Jack Jones, who... Well, I mean, beat Luca Brissell very convincingly in qualifying, and Luca Brissell, of course, beat Chang Bing-Yu, who got a 147 in qualifying. People were really fancying him to maybe even do a Zhao Xintong this year and go quite far in the World Championship. Luca stopped him, but who stopped Luca? Jack Jones. I mean, what a performance in that final qualifying round.
Yeah, he also fairly comfortably beat Marco Fu as well.
Sad times.
A lot of people were rooting for Marco, and he seemed to be playing quite decently. But yeah. Jack Jones, incredible, really, thinking that we had a Judgment Day match between Jack Jones and Luca Brissell, considering how recently they've both been in finals. It kind of bizarre, really, seeing them against each other. And it's one of those strange ones where you just feel like you look at some of the qualifiers and some of the people on Judgment Day, and it's just mad that those two were together. It just feels like unlucky for them, really. That's how it turned out. But I mean, I just hope it, not to talk too much about Luca, but I hope it's a kick up the bum, and I hope he just gets his act together and gets back playing, because he's ranked in the 40s at the moment, and that's just absurd for a player of his standard. Like,
well, weirdly, Tom, before he sort of won the World Championship, he was ranked in that. He goes through these phases. He won the China Championship back in I think 2017, and then sort of was in the top 16 for a bit, but didn't do a lot, and then dropped down into the 40s again, then worked his way back up in, I think he won the Scottish Open, was it? And then that propelled him into the top 16. He went and won the World Championship, and then nothing for 2 years. So he does have these spells where he sort of goes nuts for a bit and then just disappears. But as you say, hopefully we see him certainly back in the big events regularly, because we've not seen a lot of him this season. But fair play to Jack Jones, and starting to become a bit of a sort of long match specialist. And he's taken on Mark Selby, and of course last year Mark Selby lost to Ben Wollaston in a match that went very close to midnight. I remember it well, with John Virgo and Sean Murphy commentating on that match. I mean, yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. It could be a really long match, this one, to say the least. But yeah, Mark Selby's going to have to play well, I think, to beat Jack Jones.
Yeah, it's battle of the grinders, isn't it? I feel like it could be very tactical, very not the most quick-flowing, attacking, exciting match, I think, just because of the way both players play. I almost feel like Selby's more likely to be attacking, because I just feel like Jack Jones will be happy to defend until Selby. I feel like he would.
Although, having said that, Jack Jones, I think he got 4 centuries in that match against Lucas, so he's scoring well as well. It could be quite funny. There could be the most amount of centuries in this match, but it could also be the longest match. It could be both. It could genuinely be both.
Do you know, I think I'm going to go Jack Jones.
Ooh.
And it's going to be...
Well.
It's going to be 10-9.
10-9 on the black.
And the match will last 5 days.
Yeah.
So the whole championship will be running behind, yeah.
It'll be like that Wimbledon match between John Isner and Nicolas Mahou in 2010 that went 70-68 in the final set. Lasted 3 days, 11 hours, I think it was. Yeah. Jack Jones. You know what? I agree. Selby's recent record at the Crucible, obviously won in 21 and got to the final in 23. But in and around that, he seems to have had some disastrous performances at the Crucible. And I believe he's lost in the first round the last 2 years. So, yeah, I'm going to go Jack Jones. I think it might be a bit more comfortable. I'm going to go 10-7, and I'm going to sort of rely on Jack Jones' scoring in that match to get him through. If he doesn't score, I think Selby will outfox him. But... Selby's maybe not the sort of fear, the player you fear as much as maybe you did a few years ago. He seems to have gone reasonably off the boil over the last few years, which he's still, top quality player. He's going to be in that top 10 for a long, long time. But being that elite, dominant number one that he was, I don't see that form coming back for him. But yeah. That brings us on to another Chinese derby, Tom. We've got Wu Yize, who, of course, is an exciting talent. Of course, came into last year's World Championship back to do very well. Went very close against Mark Williams in the end, but Williams did overcome him. Wu Yize won his first ranking event this season. He's a very comfortable top 16 player now. He's been impressing, but he's taken on somebody who, of course, brought back the Crucible curse last year against Kyron Wilson. So Lei Pei Fan, he'll be coming back for another crack at the whip at the Crucible, and this could be a match that's very good to watch, but not many people might be watching it.
Yeah, well, they do have a bit of history because Lei Pei Fan, his only ranking title, he beat Wu Yize in the final. So they both won one ranking title. Wu Yize's reached 3-1-1, whereas Lei Pei Fan's reached 1, and that's the one he won. Yeah. Both 22, both from China. I imagine they've probably played each other tons coming up. They must have. Do you know what I mean? Like, as young players on sort of the Chinese tour when they first started, I can imagine they probably know each other very well. Same age, both very young. We're guaranteed a 22-year-old Chinese player in the last 16. So, pretty hard to call. Logic would point to Wu Yize. He is definitely the far more consistent of the two. He has reached more ranking finals, and Lei Pei Fan won one ranking final, and that was all he's really done so far. But then Lei Pei Fan did beat Kyron Wilson. So yeah, this is strangely, I think this could be the hardest match to predict of all of them, just because logically in my head's just going, all the stats would point to Wu Yize in terms of his consistency, in terms of his profile, in terms of his ranking. But Lei Pei Fan has beat him before in a ranking final and did beat Kyron Wilson at the Crucible. So does that give Pei Fan the edge, or does that mean Wu Yize is looking for revenge and that'll give him the edge? I'm tempted to go Lei Pei Fan has the edge.
Okay, so Pei Fan.
But I think it will be close. It'll be 10-8.
10-8, okay. Interesting. I think Wu Yize could have a very strong tournament. You know, I look at his side of the draw and I think, actually, if he gets on a bit of a run, he could find himself in the semi-final very quickly. So I'm going to back him. I think Wu's going to do a good job, which would mean that it was Wu versus Jack Jones on the other side of the Ding and Zhao battle for me, which that would be great. I'm going to go 10-6 for Wu Yize to win that one. So, two final matches to discuss, Tom. The next one, Si Jiahui, who I think we say this every time we do one of these preview videos, how he's in the top 16 still, I'm not quite sure. When we've got ranking event winners this season that didn't even qualify. So he's taken on Hossein Vafai, who himself, he was taken on Gao Yang in the final qualifier. He was 4-1 down. Now, Gao Yang was 4 balls away from losing to Jimmy White in the very first round of qualifying. Jimmy White missed the brown. He got the snookers he needed on the green, missed the brown, and Gao Yang managed to win that match. And then he was 4-1 up against Hossein. Hossein came back to win in the end. And Hossein's becoming one of those that's qualifying for the Crucible year in, year out these days. And I think it's, again, perhaps one of those draws where both players are quite happy, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it's not a massive amount of difference between these two. It feels like, you know, if I know people say the bracket is there's the top 16 or the top 10 or top 32, but I'd say both these players for me would be, if there was a bracket that was sort of, you know, 12 to 30, I'd put them in that kind of thing. Not quite top level, but on their day can compete. Decent players. I don't want to use Steve Davis's championship thing. You know, I mean, they're much better than Mark Allen, obviously, but I don't want to. I think every player in the qualifying was better than. No, they weren't. Sorry, Mark Allen. I really like Mark Allen. I don't know why this podcast was just gone on this trend, but
hey, it's not me. It's not me, Mark. It's all Tom.
Right, but
my moment will come in a minute.
Tricky to know who to go for, but something about me thinks Hossein. I just think Hossein might have just enough. It'll be 10-9. It'll be close.
Ooh, 10-9. Very good. I'm going to go the other way. I think C actually seems to play well at the Crucible. Obviously got to I think it was the last 16 last year where he played Ronnie. Lost in that match. Or it might have even been the quarterfinal that he got to. I can't quite remember, but yeah, well, it was the quarterfinal. He got to the quarterfinal last year and played Ronnie.
And the semi-final on his debut as well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go C, and I'm gonna go 10. Go on, 10-9. Let's do it. 10-9. We'll go for that. Which brings us, Tom, to the final first round match.
We made it.
Which, of course, is Judd Trump, world number one, versus.
Ooh, I'm world number one. All right, mate, chill out.
Versus Gary Wilson, who came through an absolute crazy match in the qualifiers. He was 7-2 up against. Who was he playing again? It was... Who did Gary Wilson play in qualifying? Oh, it was Zhu, wasn't it? He was 7-2 up. Zhu came back to lead 9-8 and was 49 points up, I think, in frame 18. And Gary Wilson somehow came back to win that match, which is unbelievable. He beat our pick, Alan Taylor, 10-1 in the previous round as well. Yeah. So... we've got that all to come, Tom. Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, Tom. I don't really like either of these players.
But Gary Wilson's from your neck of the woods, mate.
He is. I'm not a big fan. So this is really tough. And for once, Tom, I'm actually going to back Judd Trump, I think. I'm going to back him to win... quite comfortably. I think 10-4. Judd will win.
Yeah, I'm going to go Judd 10-5. I just feel like I think it'll be a 10-5 when neither player plays very well.
Yeah, and
it'll be the thing that, with all due respect to Judd, he's got quite good at is doing well in tournaments, even when he's not even knocking in centuries nowadays. There's been a few tournaments where he'll get to the semi-finals and he's only made 2 centuries, but he's picked up that knack and he's actually very good at it, to be fair to him. And so I feel like this will be a match where Judd will be in second gear, but he'll still win. Yeah.
I mean, how do you rate Judd's chances of winning this year? Again, probably under the radar. He's second favourite for the tournament, I think, behind Zhao. Again, a player that doesn't have a fantastic record at the Crucible. Got to the final in 22 against Ronnie. He's had a couple of semi-finals. Other than that, obviously lost in the semis to Mark Williams last year.
I feel, looking at the side of the draw he's on, as much as I don't root for him as a player, I can see him doing well. We'll come to it later in the things, but I'd be very surprised if I was him, I'd be confident.
He's landed on the right side of the draw, hasn't he? It all depends really on how the likes of Kyron does. I think if Kyron can play well in the tournament, he's a bit of a kryptonite to Judd Trump. So So that could be a big one. But yeah, there you have it. That's our first round predictions, everybody. And now it's time for the part of the podcast where we go into quickfire mode. So we're both going to sort of play out the rest of the tournament. We're not going to give score predictions or anything like that for the rest of it. Otherwise, we would literally be here probably until next year's World Championship. But we are going to go rapid fire. I'm going to let Tom go first, starting with his round 2 matches. Who are going to be your victors in round 2?
Xingtong will beat Ding. Fan will beat Zhao Gudong. Ronnie will beat Higgins. Wakelin will beat Pang. Chiron will beat Zhang. Willow will beat Hawkins. Jack Jones will beat Lei Pei Fan, and Judd Trump will beat Hossein Fafai.
Okay, I'm going to go for Ding to beat Zhao, and keep the curse going. I'm going to go for Murphy to beat Yulong, Ronnie to beat John Higgins, Robbo to beat Liam Pullen, Stan Moody to beat Zhang Anda, Mark Williams to beat Matthew Stevens, Wu Yiza to beat Jack Jones, and Judd Trump to beat Si Jiawei.
So it's the quarterfinals, and the only things so far me and Joe are the same at is Ronnie, Mark Williams, and Judd Trump.
Well, there you go. There you go. Go on, I'll keep going. I'll go for my quarterfinals, and then we'll go back to you. So, I'm gonna go for. I don't fancy either of these to get to the semi-final, Tom. Smurf 360 to get to the semi-final. Ronnie to beat Neil Robertson. Mark Williams to beat Stan Moody, and Wu Yiza to beat Judd Trump.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to go. Xingtong's going to beat Fan. Ronnie's going to beat Chris Wakelin. Oh. Willow or Wilson. Bloody hell, that's tough. Mark Williams is going to beat Kyron Wilson. And I believe Jack Jones beat Trump in a quarter-final previously. I don't think Lightning will strike twice. I think Judd will beat Jack Jones and get to the semi-final.
Wow. So actually, hang on a minute. Have you got Zhao versus Ronnie in the semi-final?
My semi-final lineup is Zhao against Ronnie and Mark Williams against Judd Trump.
That is an exact replica of last year.
Is it?
Yeah. That's what happened in the actual World Championship last year. There you go. Wow. Okay. Wow.
So
Ronnie...
I was right, but just 1 year in the future.
Ronnie to beat Murphy. And Wu Yiza to beat Mark Williams.
Wu Yiza in the final.
Apparently.
Okay. I'm going to go. Oh, God. I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm going to go. Ronnie to beat Xingtong. The curse lives. The curse lives.
The curse lives.
And then Judd to beat Mark Williams.
Go on, who's your world champion?
I think this is going to break your heart, Joe. It's breaking my heart. It's Judd Trump.
Dear me, Tom.
I feel like crying.
Dear me.
I feel like
Dear
crying,
me.
though.
What has happened to us? You fell out with Mark Allen and you've backed Judd Trump to win the whole thing. So,
I press submit.
and he's going to beat Ronnie in the final. I mean, I can't think of anything more depressing, to be honest. We started this episode so positively about this year's World Championship, and if that happens, it's going to be 18-17 on the last black. Ronnie's going to miscue, and that'll be it.
But Joe, but if that does happen, then the silver lining for me would be bloody hell, I've done well at the Crucible contest. So,
yes, indeed. So yeah, I don't know how Ronnie's got to the final. I don't know how Wu Yiz has got to the final, but they both have. I don't really know how most of these players made it through the draw. Mark Williams isn't going to get to the semi-final. Sean Murphy's not going to get to the semi-final. I'm not even convinced Neil Robertson's going to get to the quarters, so I'm not really sure what's going on with my predictions here. But, and it is a big but, Ronnie O'Sullivan will beat Wu Yiz in the final. He's going to beat him comfortably. It's going to be 18-9, 18-10. And I think Ronnie is going to do the double of winning the World Professional Championship and the World Seniors Championship in the same year.
Oh, that's the big one. That's the big one we're looking forward to.
That's the big one, isn't it? And he might even beat Mark Williams in the final of that one. So, so there you go. Tom has somehow backed Judd Trump to win the whole thing, and I've backed Ronnie, which, to be honest, going into this, I don't think either of us were going to back those two players. But just the way that the draws worked out, we've been very silly with some of our predictions, and that's what we're left with. And that's our own fault, Tom. That is our own fault.
Just feel nothing but regret.
But yeah, Ronnie's going to win his 8th title, and I would hazard a guess that maybe he will retire if he does win it.
I don't think he will. I think he likes the money.
He's got to pay for those school fees somehow, hasn't he?
Can you imagine winning 500 grand and then going, "I'm going to retire"? Why would you stop when you can do it after?
Yeah.
I'd be. He's not. Well, I mean, the only person who's ever done that is Nico Rosberg, I suppose. But,
oh, dear me. We're getting into the niche references now, aren't we, Tom, eh? Yes, but that, let us know what your predictions are going to be. When this podcast goes out, you'll still have about 24 hours to enter the Crucible contest. It's something we do every year. I believe it's the 26th running of it. So, go and support it. It's run by, one guy in his room, I think, that does it. And it's amazing. Thousands of people enter it every year. And World Snooker Tour have seemingly stolen his idea and ran their own one this year. So it would be great if people can support the original one, who runs it throughout the year for every single tournament. So, do go and support it. And let us know who your winners are going to be. Let us know your first round predictions and all of that good stuff as well. It's now time, Tom, for Judgment Day for us. The qualifiers. Now, before the tournament began, we predicted the 16 qualifiers for the Crucible, Tom. And I don't know if you remember your team for the qualifiers, but I'll quickly run you through them. If you have forgotten, Stuart Bingham was your team captain. Mark Davis, Dave Gilbert, Zhao Yulong, Zhang Jun, Jamie Jones, Artemis Sissins, Nopon Xiangham, Chang Bingyu, Jordan Brown, Alan Taylor, Zach Surety, Martin O'Donnell, Liam Highfield, Ben Mertens, and Long Zhuhang. So those were your players. You picked Long as your long shot. We said they would get triple points depending on how they did. So how are you feeling confidence-wise, Tom? I'll remind you, last year you got 28 points and you lost to me 35-28 last year in the qualifier contest. Now you've heard your names. How are you feeling?
I feel like the ones I was less sure on did well, and then the ones I was more sure on didn't do as well. I know I definitely had a fair few in Judgment Day, because I was obviously following all of it. So I don't know whether I would have beat you though. But I've got a few players who've got a few match wins. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, Bingham, of course, we'll start off with him. He's your team captain. He got to Judgment Day, so he gets 3 points for winning the third round qualifying. We'll double that for you, Tom, to get you 6. So that's a decent start for you. You got 6 points there. Mark Davis. Now, Mark Davis, of course, was playing for his life on the tour. And sadly, he came up against Jimmy White's conqueror, Gao Yang. And Gao Yang beat him 10-6 in his first match. So it's a nil point there for Mark Davis, I'm afraid.
Gao Yang, what is your problem with old men? Why are you beating them all?
But, Tom, on the positive side of things, you did predict Dave Gilbert. Dave Gilbert has qualified for you, so he gets the full 4 points. He is there for you. So you're on 10 already, into double figures. And more good news coming your way, Tom, because Zhao Yulong also got you 4 points. He is a qualifier. Now, Zhang Jun, do you remember where he got to?
He did quite well, didn't he? He definitely beat Ashley Carty, I think. Did he?
He did, yeah. He beat Slesser. And he got himself to Judgment Day, where he took on a certain Stan Moody and lost in the decider. Tom, you could have had 3 in a row there, but just the 3 points for Zhang Jun. There you go. And another Judgment Day player, Jamie Jones, who, of course, lost to Anthony Kowalski. So another 3 points in there for you, Tom. Very consistent. Right. In fact, you have predicted 5 of the 6 Judgment Day players so far. So,
shall we end it now, then? Let's end it now.
That's pretty good. I mean, you're into the 20s already. This is good stuff. Artemis Zizins, he's the next player. And I'm afraid to say, Tom, that he lost in his first match. So nil point for Zizins there. Nopon Singham, of course, beat Ricky Walden in the third qualifying round. Devastating for fans of Ricky Walden like me. But he did lose to Liam Pullen, so there is that. So he got 3 points for a Judgment Day appearance. Chang Bing Yu, of course, well fancied. He played... Prin Rat Mukta in the second round, beat him 10-2, and then played Luca Brissell. It went all the way 10-8, but he does just get you the 2 points for winning his second round match. Jordan Brown kept his place on the tour just by the skin of his teeth. I don't know if Kowalski's win in the final qualifier actually affects that, because he was one of them that could have knocked Jordan Brown out. So that's something to bear in mind.
I believe depending on how well Liam Highfield and Liam Pullum do, at the moment it stands that if Kowalski wins, he'll go in the top 64, but Jordan Brown will stay on the 1 year list.
Oh, okay. So that means he's pretty much safe anyway.
He'll be safe, but he could be 64 or he could be 128, which is a big difference. So
it's a massive difference for somebody that's not had the best of seasons. He beat Ian Burns 10-9 in the decider, Jordan Brown, as well. And there was a moment, I think Ian Burns needed a snooker, got the snooker on the pink and black. It was just the pink and black left. I think he potted the pink, missed the black. Jordan Brown potted the black after that. So it was crazy. But sadly for Jordan Brown, he did just win that match because he went out to Lei Pei Fan in the next round. Alan Taylor is next, and Alan Taylor did all right. He won his first match against another podcast favourite, Stephen Hallworth, the Lincolnshire sausage, as we call him, and then went out 10-1 to Gary Wilson. So just the 2 points for Alan Taylor there. Zach Surety got 2 Judgment Day, so another 3 points for you there. Martin O'Donnell, of course, almost did it against Anthony McGill in the second to last match. So just the 2 points for O'Donnell, but he was very close for you there, Tom. But you'll be very happy. Liam Highfield's your next one. He got you a big fat 4 points as being a qualifier. Ben Mertens got to Judgment Day, another 3 points for you there. And Long Shu Hang, I think, he was in the third qualifying round. He lost to He Gar Kwang, so he gets you 2 points. Meaning that, Tom, from 28 points last year, you have improved to 43 points. Very, very impressive performance. And in fact, only 2 nil points there.
Wow! Oh wow! Let's just not watch the World Championship. Let's forget the World Championship predictions. End it there. I'm happy. Very good stuff.
And let's not forget, Tom, because Long was your long shot, he gets you triple points. So instead of 2 points, he's upgraded to 6. So you're just 100 shy of the big 147. 47 points in the end there, Tom. Very, very good. Very impressive.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I'm going to struggle to match this, looking at some of the players that I've backed. But just to remind you, Tom, this was my team. I had Matthew Stevens leading the way with Hossein Vafai, Aaron Hill, Robbie McGuigan, Stan Moody, Joe O'Connor, Artemis Zizins, Ricky Walton, Marco Fu, who was my long shot, Lei Pei Fan, Alan Taylor, Zhang Anda, Julien Leclerc, Oliver Lines, Yuan Sijun, and Jack Lazowski was my team captain. So, Matthew Stevens.
This could be close.
It could be close. It could well be. It could all come down to those long points. You never ever know. Matthew Stevens, of course, qualified. He's 4 points straight away out the bag. Vafai, 4 points for me there as well. We then have Aaron Hill, who got to deadline. I keep calling it deadline day. I need me yellow tie out, Tom. I want to see Rob Walker with a yellow tie on Judgment Day next year. Yeah, that would be brilliant. But he got to Judgment Day, 3 points for him. Now, Robbie McGuigan, he did pretty well. Got to the third qualifying round. I was quite happy with that. Gets another 2 points in the bag. Stan Moody, of course, another qualifier, so that puts him on another 4. Joe O'Connor didn't win his first match, so that's our first nil point. Zizins is a nil point as well. Ricky Walden won his first match in the second qualifier, but lost in the third round to Nopon, so just the 2 points for him there for winning the second qualifying round. Now, Marco Fu, what a great run he had. Got to the third round where he played Jack Jones. Did really well in that match before Jack Jones pulled away at the end. So he won 2 matches, but he gets triple, Tom, because he was my long shot. So he's up to 6 points. So after the 9 players in my team, I'm on 25 points, Tom. So this could be close. It could be close. But I think you're going to do it, which would keep up your record this season. You have been the better of the two, which is bad news for Judd Trump haters. So Lei Pei Fan is my next one. He's a qualifier, so 4 points there. Alan Taylor, of course, won his second round match, so he gets 2 points, just like he did for you. Zhang Anda, now he could be a bit of a difference maker. He is a qualifier, 4 points for him in the end. Julien Leclerc, now he lost to Ali Carter in the third qualifying round, so he gets 2 points. Oliver Lines got to Judgment Day, so he gets 3 points. And Yuan Sijun, what happened to him? He lost in his first match against Ben Mertens in a deciding frame, which could be the difference, Tom. That's a nil point at this late stage. That's not what I needed. So it comes down to Jack Lazowski, team captain, who, of course, lost in the final round. He got 3 points for me, which doubles him to 6, which takes my total, Tom, to 46. You win by 1 point. Come on! Congratulations, Tom. Very, very good performance. I mean, to be fair, between us, we only had 3-0 players. I think that, between us, we had 5. I had 3, you had 2. I think that's pretty impressive out of all of the ones. Out of the qualifiers, we successfully predicted Zhang, you had Highfield, you had Zhao Yulong, Dave Gilbert, I had Vafai, Stevens, and Moody, and Peifan. So between us, we had 8 of the qualifiers.
I mean, that is
which is not
right?
bad. Not bad.
That is pretty incredible, I'd say.
And to be fair, out of Judgment Day, we had the vast majority of Judgment Day there. The only ones where we didn't predict anybody that got to Judgment Day was Zizins. We both predicted him. We both predicted Alan Taylor. And I predicted Leclerc, you predicted O'Donnell. Other than that, every one of our predictions, at least one of them got to Judgment Day. So, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Incredible. See, we do sometimes know what we're doing.
Sometimes. But that was a pretty good performance. 47-46. I mean, that is a decider on the black, isn't it? If ever there was one. But let us know how you did. I know a few people sort of made their own predictions. So, use our same point system. So basically, if they won a match at every stage, that's the number of points that they get. If they didn't win any matches, they get nil points. And obviously, your long shot gets triple points and your team captain gets double points. So, Tom, you win again. And I think it's fair to say you have won pretty much all of this season. It will be interesting when we get to our overall season predictions, because at the very start of the year we made predictions, some bold predictions about who was going to win the Triple Crowns, who was going to win their first ranking event, who's going to be big surprise, that sort of thing. So I'm excited to see that when we do our big review of the season in a few weeks' time. But that now brings us, Tom, to a bit of a special section. It's of course a longer podcast for the start of the World Championship, and it's a bit of a new section, this one. We have been going through this certain book, Tom, the World Snooker Tour quiz book, and it's our section called Quiz Wakelin.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in this book, there is the World Championship section. So I believe it's your turn to play, Tom.
Mm.
So you are going to be tested on your knowledge of the World Championship, which I'm very excited to get into. Of course, last time I got quizzed on Ronnie O'Sullivan, and I didn't do that well, really. I'm going to be honest. It wasn't great. John Higgins, you got quizzed on beforehand. You got 17 points. You got a 17 break. I got a 14 break with Ronnie O'Sullivan. So let's see what your knowledge of the World Championship is like. So as always, Tom will answer a red question to see if he can start his break. Then he can pick a colour. And so on and so forth. And it is all on the World Championship. So, are you ready, Tom?
Yes.
So, question 1 for your first red. And remember, you get 3 misses that you are allowed. And if you get 3 misses, then unfortunately, you concede the frame. So, question 1. The World Championship has always been a ranking tournament. True or false?
False.
Let's check. I believe you are right. But that will be false because, of course, there wasn't even any rankings back in the day, was there? It was invitational.
Quick start. I feel like Tepchira knew.
Let's see. It is false. Okay, so one.
One.
Pick a colour, Tom.
Blue.
He's gone for the blue ball. Ooh, this is a good question. In which year did the World Championship final become the best of 35 frames? I will give you 2 years either way for this.
1970.
Is that your answer? 1970.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was going to be another number come after it. Sadly, it has rattled off the jaw, Tom. It was you were 10 years out. It was 1980.
Oh, okay.
Okay, back to the Reds. The World Championship has always been held at the same venue. True or false?
False.
Okay, pick a colour, Tom.
Green.
The green ball. Okay. In which year was the first world champion crowned?
How's that a green?
He's got to know this.
First ever world champion.
Yeah, you've got to know this.
What, do you know it?
Yeah.
$1927.
Yes, well done. Next year is the big 100, isn't it?
I was terrified for a second. In my head, I had that, and then I was just like, no, but yes. Oh.
5. Right. Back to the red, Tom. Back to the red. The 1985 World Championship final achieved a peak viewing audience of 18.5 million. True or false?
True.
That is true. Well done. 6. Pick a colour.
Because it's 1985, let's go for the black ball.
Oof. Right. Oh. Oof. Who refereed the 3 Crucible finals resolved in a deciding frame?
Got 2 names in my head. I don't even have his actual name. Was there a referee called John Thompson?
So close, Tom. So close. As agonising as Davis in 85, sadly. It's John Williams. John Williams.
No.
So close. So close. So he's got one more chance. He's currently on 6. So back to a red, Tom. The World Championship has only been won by British players.
Yes, famously British Luca Brissell and Neil Robertson.
And Cliff Thorburn.
Yeah, that's a false, I believe. Presuming
Yes.
this book wasn't written in 1960.
Well, you don't believe it or not, I think a lot of the 1950s world champions were Australian.
Oh yeah. Horace Lindrum. That's one.
Well, they see, here we go. He's clearly been swatted up on this. Okay, 7. Pick a colour.
Let's go for the brown.
Brown. Okay. Who was the last winner of the World Championship before it moved to the Crucible?
That's... Could it have been Ray Reardon?
It was. Well done. Very good. Very good.
This is great for my ego. I'm loving
11.
this.
It is. It's fantastic. What we need to do is get a soundbite of the snooker referee so I can put World Snooker 2004 referee so I can put him over the top of this. So back to the red, Tom. You are on 11. Okay. These are ridiculous questions. The World Championship has only been won by right-handed players.
False.
Correct. Okay, 12. So
we're going to run out of reds, but very quickly, aren't we? That's the problem.
There's 15 of them, to be fair. So you know you're doing all right. So we're on 12 right now. Pick a colour, any colour.
Pink.
He's going for the pink. Okay. Podcast favourite here. Where was Joe Johnson ranked when he won the World Championship? I will give you a leeway of 2 either side, I think, because this is quite tough.
24.
Well, he's rolled it in. Is it going to reach? Is it going to reach? Is gravity going to take over? No.
Oh!
Oh, it stops on the pocket. He was 16th, Tom. He was 16th. So that is a grand total of 12 points, which I guess is a bit disappointing considering you got 17 on John Higgins. But I think you were a little bit unlucky with some of the questions there. It's fair to say.
You know what? I played some naughty snooker. I was happy with it, Joe.
He's happy with it. Well, there you go. So could you beat Tom's score? Let us know what your break would have been down below in the comment section. But I think that is it, Tom. That is it for another year. Our Crucible predictions, our Crucible preview podcast has come to an end. Really, really enjoyed it. Going through all of the matches. I think it's going to be a memorable one. It really is. I think there's going to be some cracking matches. There's probably going to be a 147. To be honest,
it'd almost be more surprising if there wasn't.
Yeah. I feel like there's been a 147 every year for the last few years. Yeah, be really nice to see, Xing Tong or Ronnie, or maybe even one of the debutants go out there and get a 147. How amazing would that be? Maybe even a 147 in the deciding frame at 17 all in the final. Imagine that. That would be pretty crazy. I feel like only Ronnie could do that. And who knows, maybe he will. Who knows? But it's going to be an amazing 17 days coming up. We are going to be covering all of the action. We will do daily as much as we can. There will be some live podcasts put in there as well, which will be new for this year. Tom has got his world famous The Suits video coming up as well, which I can't wait to see. That's going to be, it's always fun, isn't it? Go on, quick prediction. Who are going to be the players that surprise you with the suits this year?
Oh, I fancy Xing Tong's going to have something flashy as the world champion.
I think he's going to wear a white suit.
I genuinely was going to say white. I was genuinely thinking he was going to wear some white suit. And maybe Barry Hawkins. I'm quite sure I saw on Instagram once he put up a picture of him dressed up like Austin Powers. So he might have something camp from the 60s.
Yeah, I think Mark Williams is going to arrive in a banana suit. And Stuart Bingham will photobomb the lot.
Oh yes, please. Wearing his swim trunks.
Yeah, he'll be in his hot tub in the background. Yeah. But no, it's always a pleasure. We will have our usual features throughout the World Championship as well. Cue the music, cue the laughter, and our new favourite quiz, Wakelin. And who knows, there might even be some lights, camera, Jackson Page in there as well. Get your Fan Zheng email in with the links down below. We always read them, and we want to read them out on air over the championship as well. But let us know your predictions. Let us know your thoughts, and we hope that you'll join us for the ride and enjoy the snooker, I guess, is my parting comment. Do you have anything else to say?
I'll just say it's a wonderful time. Crucible Eve is properly exciting. The best time of the year for snooker fans, and it's going to be a strange one about JV, but I think there'll still be plenty of laughs, plenty of wonderful memories.
Indeed.
And the joy of snooker, how we love it. So yeah, let's have fun.
Here. So we will be back on tomorrow night, I suppose. Well, maybe Sunday morning. It'll probably be reacting to the first day's play. So excited to do that, and enjoy the snooker. And we will be back on the airwaves very shortly. Good night, Hazel.